Beetle channel time.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 30. That's right, 30 of Late Night Dominion. We made it 30 episodes. Can we do it again? We'll see. Thanks for joining us again. So, why don't you take it away, Beetle? Beetle.
Beetle.
Did Beetle just die on us?
Maybe.
I guess so.
I think Beetle might be down for the count. We're gonna. I'm dead. Help.
Oh, there's some movement. There you go. I see some movement.
Hello?
Ah, you're there. It's alive. Woo!
Yes!
Help! I was just saying, like, as you passed over to me, I was like, so TeamSpeak just disconnected, so something's not good here. And then, yeah, of course.
All right, well, anyways.
But yeah, what are we talking about?
We're taking it to you.
Wildstar,
Yeah.
episode 30. That's 30 of them. We got, we're missing our little Frenchman tonight. He is off doing schoolwork. I think he's in chat, though, so he's still doing his stuff. We got Blanket's face with a hat on. And we've got, Ginger Man anime poster is his new handle. And myself, Beetle, and I'm drinking a Bud Light Lime-A-Rita, and it is not that great. Yeah, episode 30.
He said
we can
Bud
say
Light.
medic engineer, and there's gonna be stuff talked about him, I guess, if you guys want to talk about him. And yeah, blank news and professional as always.
As always, get your professional, highly put together vodcast right here. Reveals, classes, AMAs, we've got it all for you. We weren't here last week. We had this little holiday to take care of. We're back this week. Hope you guys miss us as much as we miss you. Gonna let you know that we do have Kitty Cat in chat. If you have questions, please send them to her. Links and or breaking news, which does happen time to time. Make sure to follow this Twitch channel. Whenever we can, we put lots of other Wildstar stuff on here, whether it's town halls or lore readings or whatever, gets thrown together for fun. So you should definitely check out the channel. Check us all out on Twitter, all that information, and like us on Facebook. As Beetle said, there is no Nexus tonight. He is at school taking care of real life stuff. Good luck with your finals, bro. And I'm just going to let everybody know I'm fostering a puppy, little puppy that's been in and out of, had a crazy life or something. I have him till Saturday, and he's behind me. He's a poor little puppy, so if he decides to freak out or have a little dealio, I might have to grab him and hold him for the rest of the show, but that's what that deal is. With that, folks, we're going to get into the weekly news here. So, first thing off, we got Wildstar Wednesday, last Wednesday. It was the reintroduction of the Stalker. Surprise, the Stalker is here. You're also going to get the website, the official website, and then there was a DevSpeak reintroducing the Stalker. For those of us who've played stealth classes before, it really feels, from everything that we've read and seen, that feels like something we're comfortable with, like they did with the Warrior, but it's also going to be, done Wildstar. So, with that, we're also going to show you the next Wildstar Wednesday, which is introducing the Medic. You're going to get 2 links, and at this time, we're going to show you the DevSpeak. I'm going to be quiet, and our producer is going to run the video.
Welcome to Wildstar. This is DevSpeak. Disclaimer. Today we're going to take a look at a class that we've been keeping secret for a while. Well, sort of. You can see him right there. And there and there. But today, we're going to talk about it. It's called the Medic. Our goal with the Medic was to make an ultra high-tech, close-range, hybrid healer and damage dealer. Think Tron meets Neurosurgeon, only weaponized. And like all our classes, we want it to be mobile, challenging, and fun, not about some UI minigame. So medics come equipped with resonators, stations, probes, medium armor, and a medical degree. Resonators allow medics to charge or channel powerful diagnostic fields that mend wounded allies or devastate healthy enemies, often simultaneously. How is this achieved? Science. Medics can also deploy persistent fields called stations. Stations let them strategically control the battlefield by leaving fixed zones for damage or healing. Probes are little AI scanners that can be attached to allies and enemies. Healing, damage, buffs, debuffs, whatever you need, just probe it. And when the time is right, you can re-trigger the probes to detonate. Boom. Finally, we equip medics with medium armor, which is good because sometimes you'll need to get up in a boss's grill and heal your homies. Well, that's it for our preview of the Medic. Check out the site for more info on this crazy doctor. Give us a shout on social media. Let us know what you think. Remember, the devs are listening. Want to see the next new video? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So that was my fail. All right, so that was the DevSpeak for the Medic. Yeah, it's been a long week. So we definitely have the DevSpeak disclaimer as Beetle is handling the dog. Cat will link you that. Get DevSpeak breakdown by Wildstar forums, as well as the breakdown by Mission Nexus. And there's Blank with his adorable little puppy. Alright, next up we have a lovely video brought to us by Carbine. Showing off basically a reintroduction, a little movie of all the classes. And we will show that off now. So hold on to your seats, and here is the new classes flick from Carbine.
Fill her up, barkeep. I got me woes aplenty. All right, here, let me get this thing out. Sure, come to Nexus, they said. A marauder's paradise, they said. Towns and villages ripe for raiding, looting, and pillaging. For a simple, hard-working scallywag like myself, it sounded like the perfect place to buckle down and do me bloody business. So where be the problem, you might ask? The whole planet's crawling with psychopathic killers! Oh. Warriors, armed to the bloody teeth! If they ain't chopping you to bits, then they're blowing you to hell with those arm cannons. And people call me a bloodthirsty bastard. Being gutted by an honest blade be one thing, but these espers use their friggin' minds to make swords and beasts and... What the hell is that? Don't get me started on spell slingers. Up and around like half-mad space demons and using them magic pistols to shoot people at home. Me blasted eyes got more patches than a leaky garbage scout. Oh. And Just when you think it's okay to start terrorizing the townies, one of these bloody stalkers appears from out of the shadows and skewers you with them pig stickers. Ah, me poor liver ain't been working for weeks. Then there be medics. Don't let the name fool you. Their bloody resonators will shatter your bones and boil your innards. Not exactly the bedside manner I was expecting. What's that you say? Am I afraid of the engineers? Never heard of them. What are they gonna do? Change me oil and tighten me screws? Oh, bloody hell.
So you folks just got to see the classes Wildstar Flick. I don't know about you guys, but every time I see one of these, I'm just more and more impressed. They're just so awesome. It's really cool. Glad to finally be able to say things like engineer and medic, you know. Next for the weekly stuff to tell you guys about, we have TenTonHammer. They had their own 2-class reveals article put up. And as always, we got to collect them all up. So there was one from Zam about the last 2 classes. And our good old friend Ara Wolf wrote up one over at wildstarfans.net. Sorry guys, this is challenging. I've streamed with my daughter, but not with a puppy, so y'all have to bear with me. With that, we're going to go into the Stalker AMA Breakdown. This is from Reddit. They normally take about an hour to do them, and we're going to start getting into these one by one here. First thing that we have is Stalker DPS against AoE attacks. As you guys know, Stalker is the stealth class of Wildstar. We're being told that the Stalker has a variety of tools that will allow him to overcome AoE effects during raid dungeon encounters. The Stalker ability False Retreat causes the Stalker to leap back 15 meters while placing a beacon at his initial location. It can then be reactivated to move him back to his initial position. Additionally, while the Stalker is at a distance, he has a few abilities such as Nano Dart that can be cast from a ranged distance to ensure that he is always keeping damage on his target, even if he is not within melee range. Stinky puppy. Stalker DPS in PvP PvE. What the developers responded to this question was, Stalkers, as every other class, it's going to depend on how you build out your limited action set. The Stalker has the ability to dish out sustained damage comparable to other classes. And if I remember, Beetle wanted to mention something here. Beetle?
Yeah, it's I mean, this is with the first paragraph here too, as well, with the yeah, and you can hear me now, right? I'm alive. I hope so. Maybe. Okay. With the now I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, with the nano dart, it's similar to the arm cannon for the warrior. If they're saying they can sustain damage from a distance, at least have a couple abilities that really helps them. So it's just like, because that's always one of my biggest fears in a game like this where you're moving so much, is how tough it is for a melee to stay near an enemy, and when everybody's moving so much, to be within their range, to have good DPS, comparable to a ranged DPS like the Esper or the, or the Spellslinger. It's just like, can I keep my DPS up with them as a melee because everything's moving so often? So that's just it's a big thing to hear that you can kind of keep.
Oh. Did Beetle go goodbye?
Again.
Yep. So to expound on that a little bit, it is nice to know that the Stalker is going to be able to dish out the same amount of damage as you can for your range classes. We can move into until Beetle comes back. to the next topic. Is what everybody wants to know: stealth information. While using stealth, it is beneficial to obtain optimal DPS, but it's not always necessary. You can also use a mix of positional attacks to aid yourself in achieving optimal DPS. The Stalker is able to use stealth while in combat, which will then trigger specific stealth perks on abilities. The Stalker always has access to all of his abilities, but a select few abilities gain a bonus while in stealth, and it is up to the player to decide when to use them. It is the Carbine's goal to ensure that permanent stealth is not achievable. They do like that Stalkers can use their stealth while in combat, but having 100% uptime would be overpowered. Currently, if you use stealth in combat, it will go on cooldown, disabling you from using it. And the last little note there is that stealth is only permanent until you attack or take damage. It's one of the mechanics we're used to seeing from stealth anyways. Emergency stealth will remove crowd control, but won't remove damage over times. In other MMOs, certain damage over times were removed by other skills that you could spec into, but it's good to know that there's a way to mitigate somebody being able to use stealth to do, considerable extra damage or run away. Some abilities, as we've mentioned, have bonuses if used from stealth. And completely invisible as a Stalker, as you're walking around, you're completely invisible until within 15 meters of the target. Then apparently the silhouette becomes visible. And, kind of cool part, a lot of people have been talking about, will interact with the environment even while in stealth. So if you look around and all of a sudden grass is moving, or I don't know, little tiny rockets kicked or whatever, you might have a homie coming to gank you. And an interesting note here, the Scientist Scan bot does not stealth with the Stalker. Too bad for Stalkers who want to be scientists, I guess. The next topic that we have here is Stalker as a tank. Being told that ballpark gear stats 20 to 35% armor mitigation and close to 40% deflect chance when fully geared. Going to assume fully geared 40% must be getting ready for raids. High-end skill level of play should be on par with playing any of the other tanks. They're really trying to balance it out so that it's not specific based upon what class you're playing, and more about the LAS and the style and the encounters you have in front of you. Their stances, we've got 3 right here. You can kind of do the evasion tank. It increases stalking deflect chance by 20%. You can stance being lethal, which is your damage, and then you can have balance, which is more of a jack of all trades. Unlike other MMOs, Stalkers, your stealth class, don't have positional bonuses from the front currently. Kind of a cool note here, claws retract when out of combat, and this is interesting from an action MMO standpoint. When it comes to mobility, the Stalker has no abilities that require him to stand still. There was a discussion about melee DPS versus ranged DPS. Stalkers will be able to DPS as well as ranged, but some fights will favor ranged over melee, and vice versa. And the last big part we got here is what Stalkers bring to the fight. Why would you want to bring them? Somebody asked the question. So what we're being told is they have lifesteal, deflect bonus, deflect critical chance, an absorption shield for self, an augment drone, that heal and heal buff for short duration. You can clone, that's self. Now, you can either clone yourself for DPS, which does damage and interrupts, or you can upgrade it with amp, and you can do tank and taunts. Clones will always mimic your current appearance, so there's none of that, the old Shakos in League of Legends. And clones have similar visual effects to make telling the original from the clone harder, and clones will have their own set of automatic attacks. I think that'll be the telling part, really. Along with clones, drones, shields, and lifesteal and other things. They also bring stealth mines that tether the target. Tether does not sound fun. We got being able to pounce, which is a gap closer, which leaps to the nearest target. And we're also being told that they have a dot called Overload. It ignores shields. You can actually tier it up, and it can be used to disable shields for a short period of time. You see Beetle staring at the screen. I'm hoping
Beetle's alive again, it looks like.
I don't know how long I'll be alive for, let's be honest here. We got issues tonight.
Hey, but you get caught in some really nice, perfect shots.
Yeah, I'm just going to stay smiling because when it does freeze, I won't look like a fucking idiot anymore.
These are the things that people send on Twitter, and they're like, "Oh, hey, by the way, check out this, new Imgur of Beetle or blank or whatever." So, well, let's hope Beetle stays with us here for the next breakdown. Folks, normally we're not this detail oriented, but these breakdowns, are on Reddit. Not a lot of people get on Reddit. I actually find it really gross, so I'm really glad we have our producer Aegon helping.
I find it gross too, but I do my job.
Yeah, it has good information in it, and we want to make sure that even if you don't surf Reddit, that you get this information, whether it's tonight on Twitch or tomorrow and in the future on YouTube. So we're going to hammer into Medic here. Things you need to know about the Medic. Their focus is mainly on AoE healing. They're very DOT heavy, a lot of damage over time. Hybrid spells do have less power due to their dual nature, damage and healing. However, for those of you who like to min-max, this could be interesting because, we're being told the Esper and the Spellslinger can hybrid. However, the Medic synergizes the most in the middle. If you're looking to do damage and also do healing, you're going to want to play the Medic. If you're looking to get those big, let's see, the big fatty heals were Esper. I believe the Spellslinger was mobility and potential AoE ones. So, that being said, different play styles, different LASs will make that interesting. The skill level curve is on par with other classes, which I find interesting because as a hybrid class, normally the skill curve is a little bit higher to be able to maximize your effectiveness, both being able to situationally heal and do damage. So I may not fully agree with that, but we'll see. Chuas can be medics. Hooray. They are in between the mid-range between a warrior and long-range like the Esper. So the average range for medic abilities is about 15 meters. 80% of the heals we're being told will target up to 5, with some abilities hitting less and or more. And our medics can be tank healers, group healers. They can be hybrid, like we discussed, damage and healing, or they can do group support, which is damage and healing, damage or healing, and buffs and debuffs. With that being said, Beetle?
Yeah, that was one of the big things that I read about this was that really interested me is tank healers, group healers, hybrid, damage/healing, or group support. I mean, this is going to be one of those classes that I'm definitely going to have to try out just because of, the Swiss Army knife about it. You know what I mean? It's just like, if they can do damage, if they can support and tank, like a support tank medic would be badass. It's like, it's what we talk about in previous episodes about, these weird builds that will come into play due to limited action set and stuff like that. So I really think the medic's going to fit into one of those, like, odd class-type roles.
So my question to you, Beetle, from the design perspective, when it comes to trying to balance something that's so hybrid, does it become more difficult when something's more homogenized where it's like, to be effective, you kind of want to have this sort of LAS set up for, healing or damage as an Esper, with something that's built to be hybrid, does it make it more difficult to balance?
Yeah, it's actually incredibly difficult because something that plays as a hybrid compared to other things, you have to then, let's just say the medic is the hybrid of this game. You have to make the 4 things that the medic can become, those other classes that have one of those 4 need to be more viable than the medic at any point, because it becomes this whole thing like, how do we balance this? Why would we not have groups full of medics DPSing, medics supporting, and medics group healing, and medics tanking? They're most likely going to be, like an off-tank heal or something like that, but it becomes down to the point where, how do we get people to not only play medic, you know what I mean, with how hybrid it is? But that's one of the things I want to check out personally, because I'm not a huge fan of playing a healer. I never have been in MMOs. I don't know why, because maybe I just don't think I'm that great. But this is, with the support and different things here, I could buff and debuff. That sounds fun to me, It's just it's like the offensive linemen of MMOs. They never get any sort of praise or anything like that, but they do their job and they win games. So sorry for the sports reference.
No, I would agree. It will be interesting to see how they get balanced out, because that was exactly my thought too. Was sure, okay, I can do healing or damage, but why not just hybrid and have a bunch hybrids so that we can do damage and then heal when necessary? Okay, or take 2 that are spec'd out for healing, straight out healing, and then bring everybody else out as situational. So hey, we don't need those heals in this phase, but you're able to do damage because it's on your LAS. It's right there. You don't have to move it out for the fight. So.
And that's the thing about it is, yes, we could call medic the hybrid, but we were just talking about Stalker and how we just said Stalker can sustain DPS but can also off-tank. I think that's kind of the way that they're going to handle it, is every class can't do everything, but there's a couple things that each class is good at, and if played correctly. So I think that's kind of another one of their counters, is that we don't need to make this super good compared to the medic, but we can make these other classes have 2 of the 4 things a medic can do. Right. Warrior DPS tank, Stalker DPS tank, that kind of stuff. So we'll see.
I think.
All right, and with that, we'll move on. Oh, go ahead.
I think in terms of the way they're building, I think the medic's still going to shine as a full-fledged healer, even though it's going to be able to take those hybrid roles.
It's called medic, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. So, I think we're going to see.
Heal.
I think that most of the time we're going to see them being played as the tank healer or the group healers, and fight dependent whether they go hybrid or not.
All right. With that being said, folks, the next little note we got for you is about mobility. Very interesting. All but one of the medic's abilities can be cast on the run. Always interesting to see somebody who's able to stay mobile and still put things out.
Yeah, it's super big.
And I feel like if there's all but one, I guarantee that one is like some big, huge,
group heal, something like that.
Yeah, group heal, big, heal, something like that. So, the next part we got here is we're talking about the medics. Animations are being limited towards races and combos, and this was part of the medic AMA. We want to put it in here. They're hoping to be able to push for post-launch, things like a Chua Warrior. Wow. Way too many whiskey sours already. And Orin Engineers. The problem is animations, so that they're limited to the races and combos they have. But in the future, they may be able to kind of open that up. So we can see some of these other things that people are asking for. We have a couple of example spells here. One of them is called Urgency. The spell can do one of the following. It can blink you forward 20 meters. This is if there are no allies or enemies in front of you. You can blink to the nearest enemy and deal AoE damage, or you can blink to your nearest ally, healing yourself and AoE healing. You look at this is one of those hybrid situational heals where you put something on your bar, and if you're a top-tiered skilled player, you can decide whether to do damage, decide to hop over here and help this group getting hit by a bunch of slimes or stand in fire. That's pretty cool. We also got a little bit of hybrid spells. I think I'd consider Urgency a hybrid spell.
Yeah.
Shield Surge. It's 2 power cores. It damages enemies and restores health to allies' shields in a line. And then there's Paddle Shock. You can use this after a crit. It deals damage to enemies and heals allies in a cone. Single targets other than probes. Treat Wounds. This is an instant spell, 10-second cooldown. It's a large heal. Restores shields and restores bonus health. It says 2 enemies at low health. We think that's probably a typo, and it's supposed to be restored bonus health to friendlies. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Pretty sure it's friendlies. And next one is Barrier. It's another instant spell, 90-second cooldown. It's a large shield heal. It's very interesting to see shield heals versus regular heals. It applies a powerful heal over time and grants interrupt armor. For those of you who may not know, interrupt armor allows you to take or absolves you from being crowd controlled the next one that happens within the amount of time that it's on you. And speaking about crowd control, we're being told that the medic has stun, root, and multiple snares. And these snares are going to be fields. We're going to assume that this means that drop it down somewhere and you're stuck if you just happen to be near it, or you can use it offensively or defensively for your PvP or PvE. You pull a group, you need to kind of slow them down. Sorry, reading some stuff in the document here. You're able to use it situationally. So, got a little bit of information for you folks on probes. Probes will expire if not detonated. Detonation is at full power no matter how long the probe has been active. That's very interesting. And probes can be cast on yourself as well as enemies and allies. We heard a little bit about probes. They don't expire. They will expire. So it's sounding like this might be one of those things that they have an interesting time balancing, because you put out a couple probes and just detonate them and sit on the cooldown so you need it up again. And you can cast them on yourself or on your enemies. Being able to burst out, not really heavy damage, but having that there is nice, and also being able to let these things fly around and heal and then detonate them. Who knows?
Well,
it's interesting, but they will expire, so there's an amount of time on it.
Yep. But that they're always at full power is going to be an interesting mechanic to play around with. Timing when to use it, when not to use it. Do I want to blast that heal before the big hit, after the big hit?
Yeah, see, that's like trying to think about how this would work. I put a probe on somebody and maybe it's healing them for like 10 health, a second. But I could blow it up to do a huge, heal, or stack 2 of them on there and blow them up. So it'll be interesting to see how that works.
And since they expire, you got to really figure out when you want to cast it and how long you can actually afford to wait. Also.
Right. Oh, exactly. Fields. I want to tell you that the fields are independent. A healing field will not cancel a damage field and vice versa. You take the effects of both if you stood in it. And we had some random info in there. It said, for those of you who may not know, Wildstar, if you're running around, your buddy dies, you're on the same faction, everybody will have access to a resurrection skill. So you're Dominion, I'm Dominion, I see you dead out in the world. I don't have to be in a party. I don't have to be in a raid. Just got to be the same faction. If I'm not in combat, I can run up and res you. They wanted to make sure that all players were able to res. Just a core mechanic that they believed in. There was a little bit of a tease over multiple dances per race. And the direct quote was, "Once we get all of our dance emotes in, it should be one heck of a party," end quote. And on Saturday, Mercal, which is the medic principal designer, will be taking on Azrael, which is the Stalker principal designer, on the stream. So make sure to tune in and check that out. Should definitely be pretty cool to watch. And oh goodness. And that's it for our AMA coverage, folks. Sorry. That gives you the Stalker AMA Breakdown, that's your Medic AMA Breakdown, and move on to the last little thing that we got here is the Winter Beta Progress Report by Gaffney. This was from MMORPG, good folks over there, always great articles. They talked about the dark times and where things are going to be going in the future for the beta. They were talking about that they were listening and weighing in on or listening to the weight of feedback that they were being given and making sure that everything was being addressed by the specific developers who were in charge of the feedback. Like, hey, we heard a lot about this, we heard a lot about this, we want to make sure we take care of these things. And they're making sure that there aren't any content gaps. There are some games where you're at level 40 or you get somewhere and there's nothing to do. And then you get to end game or elder game and there's nothing to do. They're really, really, really making sure, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
They're really, really, really making sure that there's stuff to do the entire leveling process, that if you play casually, if you do alts, if that's what you like to do, that there's stuff there for you to do and it's fun and there's lots of stuff to do along the way. And also that once you get to end game that you... Sorry, I'm trying to move the right way here.
Well, the other way.
This way?
Other way.
The other way. Okay. That there's stuff to do. That they're making sure that everybody is going to be satisfied with the way that they play. So check out that article. It was a really good one. Sorry guys, trying to deal with this dog in my lap right now. And that was our breakdowns. And now we're going to get into, because I'm not sure if Beetle's going to come back, a couple of the questions that we got. So we only got a couple tonight. There wasn't a lot to go over. This was much more of an informational late night Dominion than normal. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them here in chat. We got a question from Fax Machine that says, all right, my question is, what do you guys think of the medic and engineer names? Do you think they will be called something else? Perhaps, I'll address this first, I think. If they were going to call them anything other, they wouldn't have revealed them, which I think is what maybe, was part of the process, was they waited so long to do. But, once they've revealed them officially like that, more than likely the names aren't going to change. They'll balance skills, they'll balance all sorts of other things. But once they've, committed to an actual name, and they release it like that, that's probably what they're going to be. It would be interesting to hear one of the developers talk about past names, though, because I do know that in a lot of MMOs that when they're being built or games are being built, they go through different names. So it'd be interesting to know if the medic or engineer or the Esper, if those were always called that, if they were called other things.
Sure they all went through a bunch of iterations.
Yeah, I meant should they, not will they. From the marketing perspective, when you call something a medic, it makes me think just straight heals. So it's interesting that the Esper has more of what I would consider the medic's skill set. But an engineer, I guess we're going to have to see some more on the engineer before I can say that. Should they? Why not, honestly? If it works for them, I'm sure they've had a lot of people looking at it, and it works for them. Again, the only thing that's really weird for me is that, the Esper sounds like what the medic would be in my mind. I guess it's just my MMO perspective. So, how about you, Aegon?
Yeah, I think that the name just went through a million iterations. I'm sure that they went through a million different little focus stuff to pick out these names and what worked best. Will they change them at this point? Probably not, since they're pretty much announced and set in stone. I don't think we're going to see a change in the names at all. And I think they work for the most part.
Yeah.
And we'll see, how the engineer turns out when they show that off.
What do you guys think about the Engy looking like being a pet class? From what we saw in the video, it's kind of looking like that's what the deal is, you know?
I love pet classes. If it's a pet class, I'm all over it, so.
I hope it's not the same, you know, thing that we've seen before, where the pet classes are nothing but a disposable buff or disposable something or rather that you just resummon. You know, God bless the Warlock, but that pet was not in what I would consider a pet, like a hunter's pet, which, you know, did actual damage or brought additional things, and is wicked hard to balance. So, let's see. Here we go. I'm gonna move on to the next question here. Puppy, you need to stop farting because it stinks. Sorry about that. Opinions on best healer for PvP. That will remain to be seen, honestly. What normally happens as, you know, games get developed and balancing and things like that happen, because you got to remember this game is still in closed testing. What will happen is people will find, you know, LAS builds that work, you know, put points here, put points there, and they will find setups that work for them. It may not necessarily mean that it's the best healer, but it may be the best for the whatever you're running. You know, battlegrounds, flag carrier, damage soaker, whatever. And if we're talking about just general design wise, I don't really know. I want to just say medic because it has the ability to be hybrid, which leaves lots of options open for you. But then you have the Esper and the Spellslinger, so it depends, honestly, with what you're running. Oh, goodness.
I am blank space. How is everybody?
I get to be Beetle.
I hate it all.
I'm from Minnesota, or somewhere in the Midwest somewhere, and I have this beard. Murr.
Well, now that you got that out of his system.
Hey, you want to do some work now? All right.
Yeah, what are we doing here?
We're on
Doing
Q&As.
questions. We did the rest of the show without you.
Oh, you guys are great.
You're welcome.
Yeah, questions. I love doing questions.
Well, there's
Sorry.
like 2 left, so.
Alright, I'm scrolling down right now. Luckily, I've, that one?
The highlighted one, yes.
Alright. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, Jeff's here. So we got a question from Making Muffins. Who is going to be the dime a dozen class, in your guys' opinion? Dime a dozen. I don't know. I don't really know.
With there being only 6 classes, there are going to be a ton of everybody, honestly.
But I think I honestly would. I'd honestly specify it more, not as the class, but as like the class / role. I think like there'll be like a certain role of Spellslinger, like a healing Spellslinger that you won't see that often, but it'll be like, you know, it's a dime a dozen for a warrior tank. If he sees it, he's like, oh, give me that Spellslinger, you know, like, I love when a Spellslinger is healing me, it's much better than all you other guys out there, that kind of thing. I think it'll be a dime a dozen spec that you enjoy.
I've got a couple of different fun theories here. What I think will happen, because of how Carbine's been so transparent with their testing and things like that, and they're talking about open beta a month before the game comes out, there are going to be people who find very, very strongly set up things, and people are going to roll that very early. But what normally happens is, like, if somebody, you know, goes into open beta, marketing beta, and, you know, it's just rickrolling people's faces with, say, like a Spellslinger, other people might be like, oh, wow, that class is so broken, but they're not able to replicate it. So it'll be interesting to see which classes do that. Normally it's the classes with the higher skill ceiling and those who are able to get the most out of the class, that's what I think we'll see the trends. I'm interested to see how melee versus range ends up working out in the last action MMO style game that I played, which was Terra. The ranged had a significant advantage. However, if you could close that distance and catch them between cooldowns, you could smash their face off. So it was very much skill based when it came to that. So again, we'll see where those things sort of iron out. And while he's here in chat, wanted to say hello to the man who makes all of the amazing music at Wildstar, which is it's Tom Servo over here, but it's Jeff Kurtenacker. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Hey, Jeff.
We appreciate you stopping by. And your music is one of the reasons or the things, like between both you and Pappy, that I can see myself actually stopping and turning music on and reading quest stuff. Maybe not the first time through, but the second time or third time through. So just wanted to let you know, like, you guys are doing an awesome job. So
yeah,
with that,
if you can get us sitting in like a town, if I can get sitting in a town and start humming one of the songs to myself, I'll consider your job well done. If I'm sitting there and like, you know, you're sitting there and something comes on and you're just like, ba, 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 da, 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 and you're just like, oh yeah, this is my jam right here.
I look at it like, you know, there's certain games you play where you just turn the music off. I've listened to like the Wildstar stuff that's been released, and I'm like, I can see myself listening to this and not being like, this is garbage. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not calling games out. There's no specific one in my mind, but there are those games that you play where you're like, I don't need to hear this music. It's garbage. It's crap. It sucks, you know. And then I listen to stuff from Wildstar, and I'm like, I can actually leave this on. I don't have to Pandora over this. You know what I mean? So, anyways, we got one more question here. So
sure. And one of my favorites, Jeff, was Sword and Sorcery EP, because it was actually made as like an interactive CD. You probably know that one. All right, we have a great question here from Rakai that I actually read, and I think it is a great question. I've noticed in several of the videos released by the devs that certain areas have special abilities, like the crystals that reduce the area gravity effects for jumping. Do you think this is something they showed off for the video, or do you think this will be a trend we see across multiple zones and multiple unique effects? I think we will see it across multiple zones, and we will see multiple effects. I don't think that you show off this one area in a video and not capitalize on doing this multiple times, even if there aren't different things, but the recurring theme of zones having this crystal or having this thing that you just know and you see it and you're just like, all right, I know there's something to jump on over here. You know, those little triggers, just like a Minecraft or Terraria. It's like, I see that block over there, I know what that is. If you can see that in the zones and say, hey, I see this item over here, I know what that does, I think they will definitely bring it back, and it would be foolish to have it in one zone blank.
Wildstar developers are very intelligent, and I don't see them being like, hey, this is some really cool thing, we should throw it in as a gimmick. No, I'm pretty sure if they're going to put it in to a part of their game, we're going to see other like-minded aspects in other places, you know. So perhaps it's not just, you know, crystals that reduce the area gravity effects. And I know they released what the name of that stuff is. But I think there'll be other things like that in multiple zones that will have their own unique, maybe not even just effects, but just cool things that add to the immersion of the game, where it's not just like, kill 10 things, you know, be done. Where it's like, okay, well, to get there, you're going to have to do this or do that, and not just part of, you know, what you need to do for an explorer. And I'm looking forward to, you know, exploring those, you know, here soon to all be playing together. I know everyone is waiting. Marketing beta 1 month before release. Yay! Aegon?
Well, yeah, I mean, we know that that's definitely something to think about. I mean, in earlier interviews and stuff, they definitely talked about, like, you know, there'll be moons to go to that we can visit, and we know that, you know, there's low gravity on some of them, but who knows what other kinds of environments we'll see when we get to those places, or other places on Nexus that they haven't showed us yet. And in expansion-wise, who knows what we'll see and where we go from there whenever that happens. But I definitely see this. This is not a marketing gimmick. This will definitely be something that they want and will use to probably great effect down the road.
Oh, that's right. I found that. Do we have a link for that? There it
bet.
is. All right, so
This is Control-Alt-Delete.
yeah, I'm going to dance around this, by the way. Because we are the responsible people we are, we're going to share a comic with you. We're going to talk about it in and out of context. So you're going to get a link. You're going to see this link. Not quite sure
It's already in.
where the information is, but basically, we don't have a scene for this. I wish we did. It's a guy with his homies. It looks like they're playing a card game, and it says, "Hey, I just got into the Wildstar beta, so fuck you all and this shithole you crawled out of. You're all now officially beneath me. If you need me too fucking bad, I'll be in my room being way more awesome than any of you. I'm out, bitches." The next scene is everybody standing at the table, kind of like, "Oh, what the hell?" And then Bro comes back, kind of adjusts his seat.
Oh,
it's like,
scene
"Man,
on the go.
oh man, somebody give this guy a promotion." It says, "Just notice it's a stress test and it doesn't start till the weekend," so he sits back down. So I don't know what any of that's all about, but it was,
Well,
I know
it
that
doesn't matter. Funny comic.
it is pretty funny, and I know I felt that in my experiences in the past where it's like, oh sweet, I just got this email for X game or X whatever, and then you're all excited and then you read the fine print and you're like, oh crap. It's like those Dawngate ones early on where it's like, "Welcome to the Dawngate beta, open
We're
for a
open
day."
for a
It's like,
weekend.
oh, crap.
Open for 5
Speaking of
hours.
betas and alphas, War of the Vikings free weekend on Steam. Yeah, let's get our Viking on. Alright, sorry. Sorry for that outburst. Does anybody else think Blank looks like Dr. Evil petting his dog like that?
Yes.
Listen, I don't want to be too crazy personal about stuff, but like this dog, when the lady was like, "Here is this dog," it had been like in a kennel, it got rescued like literally that day. It like you could like see its ribs. It was like the skin was terrible. So we went to the pet store. We got all the stuff that he needs. He's super skittish. He gets really whiny. So I've been giving him really good food, and we've been hooking him up with some like salmon, organic, whatever stuff that helps his coat get better. But apparently it gives dogs like crazy farts. So this dog, like, I'm a 30-year-old man, and when I've had chili, this dog would still beat me out of a room. It's not even a joke. So you can't
God,
see
you're so
him.
old.
I gotta try. Come up here. You want to say hi? Say hi, internet. See, I'm a pretty puppy. I'm just really scared. There we go. So yes, this is the dog I've adopted until Saturday. I needed lots of love, and I used to raise dogs when I was younger, so I said I would take them on. So, anyways.
Yeah, we're gonna leave the stream up with just Blank holding a dog. Good night, everybody. Thanks for, do you guys want to stick around and watch Blank hold a dog?
With that being said, folks, sorry about, we started off really well. Beatles' internet kind of had an issue. The puppy started whining, so I had to go grab him.
Damn BIOS on this computer, man.
Yeah. So thanks for stopping by. As always, this is your weekly Wildstar news update. We get everything you need to know that's out there. We get you guys the links. We have conversations. Like we said, Nexus, he's got real life finals for a pretty cool thing that he's doing. So he wasn't able to be here with us tonight. And Beetle apparently didn't feed his moose or his squirrel or whatever that runs his internet. So he had to take care of that. We appreciate you guys stopping by. We hope you enjoyed the video. What's that?
I said I just suck. I'm just bad at internet.
Again, if you're new, please follow us at Twitch. That's www.twitch.tv Late Night Dominion / Late Night Dominion. Make sure to follow us all on Twitter. That's really not real blank space. At Beetle Bossy, at Mr. Nexus, and at Aegon TV. Make sure to check us out on Facebook. Appreciate you guys stopping by again. Looking forward to seeing you folks next week and what we get to hear about this engineer. And thank you folks for tuning in, bearing with us. We'll see you
Thanks,
guys next
everybody.
week.
Goodbye from Real Blanket Space himself.
Thanks for stopping by, everyone. We will see you again next week. Until then, we're out.